Hey, so today I'm going to talk to you all a little bit about Upwork and Freelancer. So I got a lot of hits on my Twitter the other day that you all wanted to hear, like freelancing tips and information. So I'm going to just do different like series and videos, but I'm going to start off with two of the biggest freelancing platforms on the internet today, and that is Upwork and Freelancer. My name is Candace, known on Twitter and Instagram as Ace's Joy. Welcome to my channel. Be sure to subscribe, hit the little bell button, and when you're done watching this video, leave me a comment and let me know what your thoughts are and share some of your experiences as well. If this isn't quite what you were looking for today on your YouTube binge, no worries. Exit out the browser that you entered and keep it moving. All right, so we're going to jump into my personal experience with Upwork and Freelancer. I've been using these platforms since about the end of 2015, so I've been on them for about 4 years. I still have an account on Freelancer, but I don't really use it anymore, and there is a very specific reason why. So both of these platforms basically allow individuals and businesses to set up accounts and post job postings of projects that they need, assistance that they need, just anything in a variety of areas in different industries. And then freelancers set up accounts, they bid on these projects, usually by having like a little cover letter of sorts, which is typically just a paragraph or two. If the job poster has asked questions, you'll answer those. You can submit samples of your work if you would like, and then you bid based on the budget and based on what you feel your personal experience would be. And from there, the person who posted it, they can message you, interview certain people, and then they can choose a person to complete the project. You get paid, you make money, and you just keep doing this over and over and over again, right? Like on Freelancer, there's like a free platform, so you get a limited amount of bids per month. And then you can have like a premium account where you actually pay per month and you get more, or you get unlimited amounts to bid. Upwork used to be very much the same way, but now it's not. You basically pay for what's called connects. It's kind of like money on Upwork, so you use connects to bid on jobs. Some jobs can be worth anywhere from 2 to 6 connects, and so you use your connects to bid on jobs, and when you run out, you can buy more connects. So that's pretty much just the overall basic foundation of how the sites work. I freelance write, so I do blogs, I do web content, I do email blasts, product packaging, content, just really anything that someone needs help with, editing. I don't personally write papers because I don't believe in people writing papers for you. I think if you're in school, you write your own papers. That's just me. But yeah, I pretty much do everything that's within my ability or my interest. And I do some video editing on these sites as well. So I started on Freelancer. Things were going well. I was getting small jobs. People don't really pay a whole lot. There are a lot more, I would say, international job posters on Freelancer than I found on Upwork. But things were going well. I was building up my portfolio. You know, I was basically 5-6 months fresh out of college. So it was just a really good experience for me to build that up and to learn, you know, working with clientele in a professional environment. I remember getting one for like a therapist who was based in like Ireland or somewhere, and that was a really good job. I learned a lot. It was kind of grueling, but they paid me like $450. That was like the biggest job I ever had. And I think he even gave me a little bit of a bonus because it just ended up being more work than either of us realized. And so that was great. But it was around New Year's. I had applied for this bid on this job for writing blogs, and I was chosen. So each of these platforms will tell you to make sure that you maintain your communication on the platform. And that is the number one tip that I'm going to tell you to use regardless of what freelance platform you might be on. Make sure that you keep your communication on the platform. Now, it is very what's the word I'm looking for? It's very customary for, you know, individuals to share like their phone number or their email to maybe, you know, to talk on the phone with you, to send files to you. Some people even use Skype, particularly if you all are in different countries. Sometimes they like to video chat just to like see you and have a conversation if it's more in depth. And so that's fine. Like to this day, I talk to people online, on the phone, on Skype if they're in a different country or something like that. That's fine. But you always want to make sure that you are keeping your main conversation and any type of contractual information on that platform so that you have something to stay accountable to. This person, I was talking to them on the platform and I was talking to them through Skype as well. So I'm sending them basically the same. I always kind of made sure I sent the same messages through each one. But they were like, hey, you know, let's do a sample basically so I can just kind of see. So they had me just write something short. It was like 200 or 300 words. I wrote it up really quick so they could see my skill. And to this day, I will remember they came back and they were like, wow, this is really good. Now, this is the part where intuition comes in because I saw that message and I was just kind of like, this feels a little weird. But I wanted money, right? I had the job. So I was like, oh, thanks. And so I just kept running blogs. Like I was pumping them out, like blog after blog after blog. The guy's name was Felix from Magic Content Point. These things are going to be important later. So I'm writing. Like a week and a half goes by. And I'm like, they haven't talked about payment, but I know they're probably pretty busy. So I've been putting like, my time or whatever you would call it in, to the Freelancer. And so I put in, I can't remember what it was. I don't know if it was called like a milestone or whatever, but I basically put in for them to pay me for however many blogs I had written so far. And I sent them a message in Freelancer and in Skype so they would see it in both places. And I was like, hey, here's the latest blog. I said I put in, you know, for like the first batch that I've done. Let me know if you have any questions. Like, you know, I'll start working the next one. Played it real cool like that. It was simple. And they were like, okay, thanks. And they didn't like send me any more work. They were kind of quiet for like a day. And typically they were like messaging me all the time. And so I went back, and when I went to send them another message in Freelancer, their account had been deleted. Like it was gone. It wasn't there anymore. It said this user is not available. The project was gone, like 0. And it was like, heart starts beating, right? Like, whoa. So I went back over to Skype and I was like, hey, like, I don't know. I said something to them and the guy was like, okay, I'll fix it, you know. And then he just didn't say anything. All I wanted to do was just like throw cuss words at him. I really did, but I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do this. I was so mad. I was like angry. I was like practically shaking. I remember like, I called my dad. I was like, what happened? Like they're gone. And I like showed him the computer and he was like, they burnt you. And he was like, calm down. Like, it's okay. My dad has done like freelance work my whole life. And so like he's like been burnt from like years back before I was even thought of. So he was just like, you know, this is going to happen. Like people do this, you know, like just calm down, tell me what happened, you know, all this stuff. And I like shared it on Facebook, and I had like a couple other friends who shared that like that had happened to them too. So I guess the one thing that I want you to know is that as you're getting into this field, whether you're using a site or you're like finding people on your own, more or less you will run into someone who's either going to burn you or they're going to undercut you, or you're going to have to like chase them down for 5 months to get your money, like all of those things. So it's just really important to learn how to be aware and safeguard yourself on the front end. And I think testimonies and stories like this really help us to do that and to kind of like hold each other accountable for that. So I contacted Freelancer and they were basically saying like the person wasn't wasn't fully verified. So there was nothing they could do to like track them down, and like they apologized, and this is why, you know, like we have in our terms and conditions, if the person isn't verified, like basically work at your own cost, don't talk to them outside the platform, all of those things. But again, like no one's sitting here like reading all the terms and conditions and stuff, you know, and I was new to this. I just, you know, I had never had anyone not be honest with me up until this point. And I had been on Freelancer like a whole year at the time that this happened. So I just didn't like how things were. And on Freelancer, like I said, it's been a while, so I don't know if they've changed, but they at the time, they did not require employers to put in any money beforehand, before the work was done. So that was how I ended up moving over to Upwork. Upwork uses escrow, so you have to put money in to start the project. So that helps the freelancer to know that there is money there to pay them. And then on the employer side, obviously the freelancer has to, you know, send the work to show they've done it, and then you release the funds. So it just really, not to say that you can't get burned there, but it does protect everyone more. So another thing that I do is sometimes if it's like a really big project or I feel iffy about someone, I'll put a watermark over my work so that they can't necessarily use the content yet until they have paid me like that final milestone. So that's another thing that's you can kind of do to safeguard yourself. If I've end up talking to someone on the phone, if they're like talking to me really fast like this, and it's like, we're going to be big and we're going to do all of this, and this stuff is going to be on billboards, and I got Target and I got Walmart and all these people, so that's why I need you to do this really fast, because, you know, I mean, when you're in a business, you know what it's like. I mean, you have a business, you know, I mean, I'm a CEO, I got 5 employees, and if I don't get this out by tomorrow, then we all going under and bankrupt, so I need this down by today. If someone starts talking to you like that and you're just not feeling it in here, then don't do it. Like, I've learned that not to operate out of this scarcity mindset that I have to like take and grab every single thing that comes to my plate, or every single person that asks me to do something, if I know that it's not going to be good for my mental health, it's not going to be good for my business, and it's not just going to be a good working relationship. So I would definitely say, you know, make sure that you are also like interviewing the people that you're working with, because even if you only work with them once, it is a client relationship, right? You are working with them to deliver them something. And if you are not doing your due diligence to make sure that this is a situation that you want to be a part of, most likely you're going to end up, you know, with people who are either taking you for granted or just really making your job so much harder than it has to be. And you don't want that. Other tips that I would give you, you know, the one good thing that came out of that situation of me being burned was that I have written so many blogs in that week and a half that I ended up having a much stronger portfolio than I did before. So if you are just starting out, I would definitely encourage you to write a bunch of blogs, whether or not they're published or not. Just make sure that like you write them and that you have enough things to show for it. And likewise with anything else, you know, if you are a designer and you're trying to do logos or something, you know, draw up a lot of different designs and patterns and logos on your own, so that you have something to show for it. That's going to help you to snag more jobs on the front end. Make sure that you write like an intro to yourself and your work that is engaging and it's clear and it's direct, and it allows people to see what you are capable of doing for them. And then you just have to be persistent, honestly. You have to just go after as many jobs as you can. Stay organized. Always try to over deliver, you know, try to do things quicker than you said, better than they might have expected. And that helps people to leave you good reviews and to keep coming back. So yeah, if I were going to, I guess, sum up tips from my experience on these two sites, I would say to make sure that you are safeguarding yourself by like getting deposits down first, and kind of interviewing the person that you are working with. Make sure that you are keeping yourself accountable to platforms that help safeguard you by making sure that all of your contractual agreements and information are kept on that site, regardless of whether you've talked to them on the phone or not. Make sure that you build up a portfolio so that you can put your best foot forward when you're bidding on items or projects, I should say, and make sure that you are delivering good product and that you are persistent in your search. And that's important with freelancing regardless of what you do. A lot of people, they're on these sites because they're looking for good product for a low price. So while you can definitely come up here and find people who are willing to pay, hundreds of dollars or even thousands of dollars for different things, know that a lot of it can be grunt work. That may not be bad for you if you're just starting out and you're trying to get into the hang of things, or you're trying to, build your clout within your industry. But know that, it's okay to flap your wings and move on from those. I'm very intentional about what projects I bid on that, I'm interested in, that I feel are worth my time, and that I feel will include me working with professional people. We're going to be talking about a lot more freelance tips, and this was, I know, a very kind of open-ended conversation. So my future videos will be a lot more focused on specific things in the freelancing industry or about freelance writing in particular. But hopefully this was really, really helpful for you. Again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell button, and I look forward to connecting with you guys online.